This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience.
Hello and welcome to War Horses, the only college equestrian podcast that, got pretty excited about some upsets that happened this week. Well, let's talk about some college equestrian. We had a lot of good action, so let's jump right into some meet recaps. Okay, week 15 started off with Fresno State at TCU. The prediction for this was TCU 12, Fresno State 6. Let's see what really happened. Fences went 4-1 for TCU. Flat went 3-2 for TCU. Horsemanship went 3-2 for Fresno State. Reining went 3-2 for TCU. Add that up, that made the final score. TCU 12, Fresno State 8. All right, so pretty close to what was predicted. Fresno State did a little bit better, getting a couple of points instead of some ties that were predicted. But good home win for TCU. You know, they show that they can get it done at home when they have all the advantages. That's great. I think TCU fell when they played over at Fresno State. So this says, they're about the same level probably. For Fresno State, again, you go on the road, you're probably going to lose these games. So, and plus they're doubling up this weekend, and you tend to do better in the second one than the first one. So it's acceptable for them to lose this one. I mean, you never want to lose, but this is an acceptable loss for them. It's not going to hurt their resume. Okay, over we go to the single discipline teams. Sweetbriar at Swanee. The prediction for this was Sweetbriar 4, Swanee 3. Let's see what really happened. Fences went 3-2 for Sweetbriar, and Flat went 3-2 for Swanee, making the final score a 5-5 tie. And on the tiebreaker, combined raw event, Sweetbriar, the visitor, won 762 to 737. Normally, the home team wins these tiebreakers, but this was a little different. But again, the stats liked Sweetbriar a little bit better anyway. So this was a good win for Sweetbriar to go on the road, even to a lower-ranked team like Swanee like this. To get the win, this is something to be proud of. For Swanee, they kind of let this one slip away. They came very close to getting it, but the raw score just didn't, the tiebreaker didn't go their way. So there you go. You never like to lose at home, and this one a little tough, but Swanee is having a down year. They've lost a couple of home meets here, so yeah, this is kind of what you're getting this year. Lynchburg versus Centenary. Now, in the predictions, I don't think I noted that this was going to be a neutral site meet, so the stats gave Lynchburg some advantages for being at home, plus the stats ran it as a 5-on-5, and I think it was 4-on-4, so this isn't going to make too much, it's not going to make a lot of sense, but the prediction was Lynchburg 9, Centenary 2. It probably would have been something like 7-1 or maybe even 6-2 if I'd have put in the numbers correctly. But anyway, that's on me. Here's what really happened. Fences went 3-1 for Lynchburg, and Flat was a 2-2 tie, making the final score Lynchburg 5, Centenary 3. So a nice neutral site win for Lynchburg. They got that. For Centenary, they, put up 3 points on Lynchburg at a neutral site. That's not too bad. Again, the smaller teams get helped out when you go down to 4-on-4 because typically that fifth rider for the bigger schools is still a pretty good rider, whereas it's not. Usually the smaller schools lose that fifth point in every event. So this helped out Centenary a little bit, but they did okay. Good job. Another single discipline meet to look at, Lynchburg at Charleston. So Charleston was hosting all these with Lynchburg and Centenary. So the prediction was Lynchburg 5, Charleston 3, which, boy, that's a little... I wouldn't expect that. But anyway, okay. Here's what really happened. Fences went 3-2 for Charleston, and Flat went 4-1 for Charleston, making the final score College Charleston 7, Lynchburg 3. So Charleston, I think their stats are a little lower. They're not quite as good as they should be because they started out going on the road so much in the fall, and it's taken a while for reality to catch, or for the stats to catch back up to reality. Here they are at home. They have all the advantages of home, and they won 7-3 instead of losing 5-3, which is what the stats stats sort of predicted. But this is a great win for Charleston. They proved that they're still good enough that they can beat the number one team in the nation at home once they get, all the advantages of riding at home. So, yeah, and they did that. Good job, Charleston. For Lynchburg, again, this, you go on the road. It's not the end of the world if you lose a meet. Lynchburg got 3 points. They probably wanted more, but that's the way again, when you go and ride at somebody else's place, it's just darn tough. It's darn tough. Okay, keep on moving. Fresno State at Oklahoma State. The prediction for this was Oklahoma State 15, Fresno State 3. Let's see what really happened. Fences went 3-1 for Fresno State. Flat went 3-2 for Fresno State. Horsemanship went 3-2 for Oklahoma State. And reining went 3-2 for Oklahoma State. Making the final score, Fresno State 10, Oklahoma State 9. So the Bulldogs, they overperformed just again and again and again all day long against Oklahoma State. This was amazing. When I looked on my phone and saw this, I was like, wait, what? Is this wrong? But yeah. Boy, the stats were completely wrong on this. Fresno State way overperformed what they had been doing historically, doing it on the road against a team that had not lost at home, not until then. And man, what an amazing win for Fresno State. This is their best win of the season and one of the best wins in program history. I think this is the first time they'd ever won at Oklahoma State. So yeah, this is big. I mean, this rivals that time that they beat Auburn at home a few years back. Yeah, this is a huge win for them. Good job, Fresno State. For Oklahoma State, you really did not need this loss, especially being at home because, as I've been saying the last couple of weeks, your schedule is not very challenging, and the one thing you had going for you was that you were perfect at home, and you only had the one loss, which was an away loss. You even picked up a couple of away wins, like you beat Fresno State at Fresno State. So, yeah, this is crazy. To drop this one at home on senior day, just dang, that's bad. I mean, it's bad for your resume. It's not bad like you did badly. It's bad for your resume because really the only thing you had going for you was the fact that you were perfect at home. And now that that's gone, I mean, you still got to go on the road to SMU next week, and that's going to be tough. This is not what Oklahoma State needed. Okay, moving right along. Centenary at Charleston. So the prediction for this was Charleston 9, Centenary 0. Let's see what really happened. Fences went 3-2 for Charleston, and flat went 4-1 for Charleston. Made the final score, Charleston 7, Centenary 3. Nice, good, solid win for Charleston. Again, Centenary is doing a little bit better than the stats are projecting for them. So, yeah, good job. Good job, Cyclones. Yeah, okay, so there you go. All right, one more meet to talk about, and this is, now a lot of y'all think, when he's talking about the upsets, he's talking about this next meet coming up, because again, most of y'all know what happened. But really, that Fresno State upset over Oklahoma State was more surprising than the meet I'm about to tell you about. Auburn at Georgia. The prediction for this was Georgia 11, Auburn 8. Let's see what really happened. All right, I'll do this in the order that they actually happened that day. Fences started everything off, and here Auburn came up big. They won that 4-1. Okay, so right out of the gate, Auburn did great. Better than they've been doing recently. Their Fences squad has given up a couple of more points than just one, even at home recently. So big day for the Fences squad. Got Auburn out in front from the get-go and really set the tone. Horsemanship was also going on in the Western Ring. Now, surprisingly here, Georgia got the better of Auburn. They won the event 3-2. So that made the halftime score Auburn 6, Georgia 4. And, so Auburn had the lead, but really, if they'd had the lead 7-3, that would have been, well, obviously it would have been better, but it would have made things a little bit more comfortable because then Auburn would have only needed like 3 and a tie to win, to seal the meet. But when you're only up by 2, 6-4, if things don't go your way in the second half, the other team can come right on back. The first 2 points could go their way and then you're tied. And from then on, if you're not doing well, they could just blow right by you. And that has happened to Auburn on the road sometimes in the past, especially when you think about these two events that are coming up, reining and the flat, which are not Auburn's strongest events, and Georgia's pretty good in those events. So, yeah, this was a little shaky. This looked like the...
It's time to throw your lash curler away. Seriously, Lancome's new Curl Goddess Mascara keeps your lashes curled and volumized. From the pregame to the after party, this fast-setting curl and volume mascara gives you up to 30 hours of wear with no way down. You know what? Curls really do have more fun. Shop Lancome Curl Goddess Mascara now on Amazon.
Marvel Television's Wonder Man, an 8-episode series, now streaming on Disney+.
A superhero remake, not exactly what we'd expect from an Oscar-winning director.
Action! Simon Williams, audition for Wonder Man.
I'm gonna need you to sign this, assuming you don't have superpowers.
I'll never work again if anyone found out.
My lips are sealed.
Marvel Television's Wonder Man. All 8 episodes now streaming, only on Disney+.
Kind of thing where you'd see Auburn do okay in the first half, and then Georgia would just come right back and end up winning 12-8 or something. Well, let's see what happened in the second half. The flat got going first. Georgia won that 3-2, and that made the score 8-7 Auburn. So you're like, all right, yep, it's happening. Auburn did get 2 points, which is pretty good. Sometimes they'll get blown out in flat, but they did all right there. And so it would all come down to raining. And here, raining has been up and down, but they've been kind of up recently. I mean, especially on the road. If you remember back at South Carolina, it was raining that did all the work that day. They won 4-0, whereas all the other events that didn't get hardly any points. So yeah, so what would happen? Well, in raining, Auburn delivered another good, strong road performance. They won the event 3-2, and that made the final score Auburn 11, Georgia 9. Auburn won on the road at Georgia, and this is an amazing road win for Auburn. The Tigers already had the strongest road resume with the win at SMU and at TCU, but this is even more impressive. Auburn is looking very strong right now, and this was just a really, really good win. Nobody has a better win on the road, nobody has a better win than this. And Auburn already had the best win, so now this is even better than what Auburn had. So Auburn's resume is head and shoulders above everybody else. Really good job for Auburn. For Georgia, this kind of stings. They had their chances, did really well in horsemanship and kind of undercut Auburn's best event right there, but they couldn't follow it up with the others. I mean, they got points here and there, but Auburn got such a big lead in fences that they just could never really catch back up, and that's what happened. I mean, Auburn jumped out and was barely able to stay ahead, and there you go. You can't let a good team do that, and Georgia did, and there you go. So that's going to hurt Georgia's resume, and because they were previously perfect at home, and to lose at home, you don't want to do that, and they just did that. So they're kind of in that a similar boat to Oklahoma State, but Georgia actually has some good road wins that will offset it. But yeah, this wasn't great for the Bulldogs. All right, well, that was all the action to talk about. Now let's see the impact that all that action had on the official Auburn Elvis College Equestrian rankings. Number 1 in the dual discipline rankings is not going to be a surprise to anybody. It's Auburn. Like I said, the Tigers have the best resume. Ain't nobody doing it better than them at home or away. And yeah, it's Auburn's world right now. So we'll see how they can finish things out. But right now, they are doing great. Number 2 is South Carolina. If you've been keeping track, I've been a little hesitant to move the Gamecocks above the Bulldogs because, again, Georgia had a better road resume. They still have a better road resume, but losing at home is just a big no-no. South Carolina is actually perfect at home, so I give them the nod there. Even though they don't have quite the resume on the road that the Bulldogs do, being perfect at home, that's where you start from. That's what you got to do. You got to protect your home field. In fact, Auburn and South Carolina are the only 2 teams that are perfect at home now. So they're in number 2. Number 3 is Georgia. So the Bulldogs will slip a little bit in my rankings. You can't lose at home. They just did that, but everybody else below them has also lost at home, so I don't count it too much against them compared to everybody else because, again, Georgia has a great road resume. They've got a win or 2 that nobody else can match, and so they still stay up there in the top 3. Number 4 is Texas A&M. So the Aggies are going to slide up. They're going to benefit from Oklahoma State losing at home, and they're going to stay ahead of SMU. It's very close between them and the Mustangs. Yeah, right now Texas A&M just looks they look good. And but if you wanted to put SMU in this spot instead of them, I could understand it. But right now I got the Aggies at number 4. Number 5 is SMU. So we just covered them. The Mustangs, they've lost at home. They lost at home to Auburn, whereas Texas A&M has lost at home to Georgia. That don't look as good now that Georgia has tumbled a little bit. So anyway, maybe I should have SMU above Texas A&M just because Georgia losing like that. But I've already written it down. I've already said it to y'all. I ain't going to go back and change it. So sometimes that's how the rankings work. SMU is number 5, but they'll have a chance to move up maybe a little bit more because they've got somebody coming to this next week that in prime position for the Mustangs to defeat, and that team is number 6, Oklahoma State. I know it seems like I'm kind of piling on Oklahoma State here with that loss, but man, that was a loss they really just did not need to take. Like I've said, they don't have any SEC schools on their schedule this year, so when you look at the rankings, all of the teams above them, they have not ridden against. Now, they're about to ride against number 5, but they won't ride against 1, 2, 3, or 4, whereas pretty much everybody else in the country has ridden against at least one of those teams, and the top 4 have ridden against each other all day long. So yeah, man. Oh well. Anyway, Oklahoma State, you're 6. You got some work to do now. But if you could upset SMU on the road there, that would do a lot. Do wonders for your resume and repairing the damage done. So we'll see. Number 7 is Fresno State. The Bulldogs going to jump up a little bit here, getting that big win on the road. It kind of offsets the fact that they lost at home to Oklahoma State, just because, yeah, man, what a historic win for them. Good job. Number 8 is TCU. So the Horned Frogs are going to get leapfrogged. Instead of doing the leapfrogging, they get leapfrogged by Fresno State. You could make a case that maybe TCU's resume is a little bit stronger than Fresno State's, but it's very close. So I'll understand if you still keep the Horned Frogs above Fresno State, but for me in my rankings, I'm going to reward Fresno State for that big win. And TCU, you're number 8. So you're still in what would be considered that range to go to Ocala if the invites went out today, and also if the invites were up to me. But I think this is probably going to be the top 8, at least from what we know right now. So we'll see. UC Davis might slip in there, but Fresno State and TCU just made it, well, I don't know, maybe they would put Davis in over TCU, but boy, that would be tough. Anyway, TCU, you're number 8. Number 9 is UC Davis. The Aggies are doing well against the ECAC. They are perfect, so they are the class of that conference. But once they start riding against other teams that are a little bit tougher, then they pick up losses. So, yeah, it's really close. I keep going back and forth between, are they better than Baylor, really? Because Baylor has played a much tougher schedule than Davis has. I don't know. Right now, I'm going to put Davis at number 9, and there you go. And number 10 is Baylor. So, yeah, I've still got the Bears ranked. I know a lot of y'all don't agree with that. But, again, when you look at the other teams, I mean, maybe UT Martin would be a candidate to jump up ahead of the Bears. But when I compare the resumes, Baylor's resume is still better than UT Martin because a lot of UT Martin's wins are coming against unranked teams that are, in the ECAC that just aren't as good as the teams that Baylor is riding against. Now let's look at the single discipline rankings. There have been a few changes here, and so let's get right into it. Number 1 is Lynchburg. I still have the Hornets at number 1, even though they picked up a loss. It was a road loss. And again, I don't count road losses really against teams because typically when those two teams ride in the other direction where the team that just lost is home, the result tends to get flipped. So it kind of evens everything out. So Lynchburg has done more than anybody else that neutral site win. So yeah, the Hornets are still number 1. But we do have a new number 2, and that team is Sweetbriar. So the Vixens jump way up the rankings to number 2 this week. How are they doing that? Why did they do that? Well, they won. But I'll tell you, number 2 through number 5 and maybe even number 6, again, I talked about it last week. It's a log jam. That log jam is still there, but it's sort of churned a little bit in the waters. And so now Sweetbriar gets the number 2 position. But again, anybody from Sweetbriar on down to number 6 could be the
Experience a membership that backs what you're building with American Express Business Platinum. Unlock over $3,500 in business and travel value annually with statement credits on select purchases from brands like Dell, Hilton, and Adobe, and other benefits. American Express Business Platinum. There's nothing like it. Based on total potential value of statement credits on select purchases and other benefits, enrollments required, monthly and other limits and terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum.
Faraday presenta Ojos con Alergia y Picazón contra el jardinero. Y el ganador es Faraday Extra Fuerte. Para aliviar la picazón de los ojos por alergia, actúa más rápido y supera a Claritin y Flonase aún a las 24 horas. Faraday, adelante.
Second best team in the nation, frankly. So we'll have to wait until the postseason when they start riding in a neutral setting and see how things work out then. Number 3 is College of Charleston. So here again, we got another team that's moving on up, even though they might or might not be the third best team. And a lot of that is because Charleston is riding against a lot of different teams. The teams that they're jumping ahead of this week don't ride a lot of meets against other teams, particularly out of their conference. Charleston does, so I'm going to reward that. Good job for the Cougars. You're number 3. Number 4 is Dartmouth. The Green have been idle for a little bit here, plus their schedule isn't as good as the teams above them. It's not as challenging, so it's tougher to kind of get a read on them. Now, again, they surprised everybody last year and won the Durham National Championship, even though they had the same sort of weaker schedule. They got it done when it mattered. They might do the same thing this year, but for right now, Dartmouth, you're number 4. And at number 5, we have Sacred Heart. The Pioneers are having their best season ever, and they might be the second best team in the nation. But they don't ride against as challenging of a slate as other teams like Charleston does. So you're going to, I have to factor that in, especially since we're getting close to the end of the year. And Sacred Heart, you're number 5 right now. Number 6 is Bridgewater. So Bridgewater has had a sneaky good season, and a lot of y'all I don't think realize that, but there's a decent chance that Bridgewater could be the second, third, or fourth best team in the nation. And when they get into a neutral site setting, we'll see how they do, but I think they're going to surprise some people because they're legit. But unfortunately, they're number 6 in the rankings, but they might very well be the second best team in the nation when it comes time to ride on neutral horses and stuff. So we'll see. Number 7 is Barry. I feel very confident about this. The Vikings are better than the 2 teams that are below them. They're not as good as the teams above them. So this is where you end up. Number 8 is Swanee. Like I said, the Tigers have not had a great season. They've been losing at home and stuff. My phone messages are going off. I'm sure you're picking that up in the background, but just ignore that. Just listen to my beautiful voice. Hadn't been a good season for Swanee. Wasn't a good week for Swanee. They're number 8, but they're still a tiny bit better than the number 9 team, and that is Centenary.
It's a twister. It's a twister.
The Cyclones have not won a meet. They're the only team in the single discipline that has not won a meet. They had that chance when they had a home meet, but it got canceled. So there you go. But they're not afraid of anybody either. They're like Charleston. They'll go and ride against anybody. But unlike Charleston, they're not getting as many wins or any wins yet. But Centenary is a young program they're building, and we'll see how things go historically for them. So that is all of the rankings. All right, now let's look ahead to the future with some meet previews. Our first meet to look at, UT Martin versus Baylor. This will be a neutral site meet, 4-on-4 most likely. Fences is predicted to go 3-1 for UT Martin. Flat is predicted to go 3-1 for Baylor. Horsemanship is predicted to go 4-0 for UT Martin, and reining is predicted to go 4-0 for UT Martin. If that happens, that would make the final score UT Martin 12, Baylor 4. This would be crazy if it was that one-sided. So I don't know what the stats are doing here, but UT Martin comes out really well in the stats for a team that has lost so much. So I don't know what's going on, but it ain't going to be like that. All right, UT Martin might win, but it ain't going to be no 12-4. All right, so anyway, take it for what it's worth. The stats love UT Martin. All right, Delaware State at South Carolina. Fences is predicted to go 5-0 for South Carolina. Flat is predicted to go 4-1 for South Carolina. Horsemanship is predicted to go 4-1 for South Carolina. Reining is predicted to go 4-1 for South Carolina. If that happens, that would make the final score South Carolina 17, Delaware State 3. Pretty one-sided, but that could happen because South Carolina would be at home, and, you know, they got a lot of talent. They're number 2 in the country right now. So, okay. Berry College at Sweetbriar. Fences is predicted to go 3-2 for Sweetbriar, and Flat is predicted to go 4-1 for Sweetbriar. If that happens, that would make the final score Sweetbriar 7, Berry 3. Yeah, I could see that. That seems reasonable. Next, we're going to go look at UT Martin at Fresno State. Fences is predicted to go 3-2 for Fresno State. Flat is predicted to go 4-1 for Fresno State. Horsemanship is predicted to go 4-1 for Fresno State, and Reining is predicted to go 3-2 for UT Martin. If that happens, that would make the final score Fresno State 13, UT Martin 7. All right, so here the stats said that Fresno State would win at home, and yeah, that's pretty believable. I could buy that. Okay, over we go to the SEC. Texas A&M at Auburn. Fences is predicted to go 4-1 for Auburn. Flat is predicted to go 4-1 for Auburn. Horsemanship is predicted to go 5-0 for Auburn, and Reining is predicted to go 3-2 for Auburn. If all that happens, that would make the final score Auburn 16, Texas A&M 4. Yeah, okay, I could buy that. I mean, it might not be quite that lopsided, but it could be. So, yeah, we'll see. Berry College at Lynchburg. Fences is predicted to go 4-1 for Lynchburg. Flat is predicted to go 4-1 for Lynchburg. If that happens, that would make the final score Lynchburg 8, Berry College 2. Yeah, pretty one-sided, but again, at Lynchburg, everybody has trouble there, so yeah. Okay. South Dakota State at South Carolina. Fences is predicted to go 4-1 for South Carolina. Flat is also predicted to go 4-1 for South Carolina. Horsemanship is predicted to go 3-2 for South Carolina, and Reining is also predicted to go 3-2 for South Carolina. If that happens, that would make the final score South Carolina 14, South Dakota State 6. All right. Now we have a neutral site meet taking place, Delaware State versus South Dakota State. This would be most likely 4-on-4. Fences is predicted to go 3-1 for South Dakota State. Flat would go 3-1 for Delaware State. Horsemanship would go 3-1 for Delaware State, and Reining is predicted to go 3-1 for Delaware State. If that happens, that would make the final score Delaware State 10, South Dakota State 6. Still got a few more here. Oklahoma State at SMU. This one's going to be tough for the Cowgirls. Let's see what the stats predict. Fences is predicted to go 4-1 for SMU. Flat is predicted to go 3-2 for SMU. Horsemanship is predicted to go 3-2 for SMU. And Reining is predicted to go 3-2 for Oklahoma State. Add that up, and that would be a final score of SMU 12, Oklahoma State 8. So still kind of close, but a victory for the Mustangs. That seems believable. Moving right along. UT Martin at UC Davis. Fences would go 3-2 for UC Davis. Flat would go 4-1 for UC Davis. Horsemanship would go 3-2 for UT Martin, and Reining would go 3-2 for UT Martin as well. If that all happened, that would be UC Davis 11, UT Martin 9. So yeah, this is, kind of close. UC Davis being at home, I think they might win by a little bit more, but the stats seem to like UT Martin right now, so yeah. There you go. Baylor at Fresno State. Fences is predicted to go 4-1 for Fresno State. Flat is predicted to go 4-1 for Baylor. Horsemanship is predicted to go 5-0 for Fresno State. And Reining is predicted to also be 5-0 for Fresno State. If that all happens, that would be the final score of Fresno State 15, Baylor 5. And our last meet of the week, Dartmouth at Centenary. Fences is predicted to go 4-1 for Dartmouth. Flat is predicted to go 3-2 for Centenary. And if that happens, that would be a final score of Dartmouth 6, Centenary 4. That's a lot of action. We only have like 2 weeks left in the regular season. Everybody's finishing out their schedules, and yeah, boy, we'll see. We'll see what all happens. Normally I have some final thoughts here, but right now, we've taken so much time going through everything. I feel like we'll just end the episode here. I hope everybody's having a good week. We'll get back together and do this again next week. And that is all for this episode. I'm your host, Auburn Elvis. Well, thank you very much for listening, and War Horses.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on the E2C Network. On your way out, I want to remind you to stop by e2cnetwork.com. It's your one-stop shop for all our content across our podcast, YouTube channel, and much more. To stay up to date with us, make sure you're following social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While our content here may always be Auburn sports heavy, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. War Eagle.